Welcome to the A-Dub Club, a podcast about sci-fi, fantasy, technology, pop culture, the internet, and general nerdery. There are three things that are important to know. One, we occasionally use swear words, but try to stay in the range of PG-13, or at least the kind of R that cool parents are fine with. Two, we may talk spoilers. In this particular episode, we primarily discuss the movie Pokemon Detective Pikachu, so be warned. And finally, three, most importantly, the name Pikachu is ostensibly a mashup of two Japanese automatopoeia. Pika, for the sound of lightning, and Chew, the sound a mouse makes. With that out of the way, welcome to the clubhouse. We have snacks. Welcome to the A-Dub Club. My name is Andrew Whipple.
I'm Alex Wade.
And oh boy, this has been marred by technical difficulties. We've been at this for like 20 minutes trying to get this to fucking work.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
It's going to be good. It's going to work well. But, oh well. Other than fighting with technology, how are you doing, Alex Wade?
I'm good. It's a beautiful day here in New York City, sitting in my room with air conditioning.
Nice. It is a not particularly beautiful day here in Chicago. Very gray, but not too hot yet, which is good. And oh my God, summer's going to suck, but whatever. We're not talking about summer right now. We are talking about the hottest new film to have graced cinemas like 5 weeks ago. We are talking about the hit film of 2019, Pokemon Detective Pikachu, as is the official name on this Wikipedia article that I'm looking at right now. So I guess the question will be, what did you think of Pokemon Detective Pikachu?
I'm going to say top level, loved it. Very fun movie. Honestly, a lot of surprising twists that I did not expect from a child's movie.
Yeah, it went for it as a detective. I mean, it's a kid's detective movie, but like a detective movie nonetheless. Yeah.
So actually, one thing about the detectiveness and the childness of the movie, I felt like sometimes it wasn't sure which one that it was. But honestly, that didn't detract too much from it.
Yeah, I think I agree with that for the most part. Yeah, so I guess my top level thoughts is I also liked it. I think I liked it both more and less than I thought it would. Like, I think it was more successful at being an actually like pretty fun romp at the movies than I would have guessed it could have been, given that it's a movie about Pikachu, but as a detective voiced by Ryan Reynolds. But at the same time, it was a little more, and we'll get into it as we get into like actual plot points and things, but like there was enough balls that were dropped that kept it from being like a full on, yes, unabashed, I love this. But overall, yeah, I think it was fun, and it was a good, a fun as hell kids movie.
Yeah.
And I would have loved it if I was a kid.
Oh, absolutely. This would have been my favorite movie for like years to come.
Yeah. So actually, what maybe as a way of diving into this, what is your history and association with Pokemon in general?
Yeah, I would say mine's pretty stereotypical of people my age. I played Pokemon Red and Pokemon Yellow. I tried getting into Pokemon Silver, but that just wasn't for me. I had t-shirts with Pokemon on them, and I used to play the Pokemon card game. It was kind of been there in my life. I wasn't really obsessed with it, but I always loved and enjoyed the concept of Pokemon. Not average Pokemon fan, but like casual, because it's a huge phenomena. Like you can't not have played Pokemon in a way.
Yeah, it kind of that kind of reminds. I think I'm in a similar boat. That kind of reminds me though of my like the way I generally feel about Harry Potter, in that I feel like if you compare me to anyone else our age, I'm not a Harry Potter fan by any stretch compared to, I've only read the books once. I've only rewatched most of the movies maybe 2 or 3 times. Then you compare me to like anyone outside of the like 5 years on either end of my age group, and like, oh yeah, you're a huge Harry Potter fan by comparison to normal people. I feel like a similar sort of thing with Pokemon.
Yeah.
It was just sort of in the air. There's no way you couldn't have been a fan of Pokemon to some degree. It was just there. For me, maybe not never, but never really got into the video games that much. I was all about watching the cartoon. and then sort of
Ooh.
tangentially collected the cards, but didn't really play them ever. But yeah, I watched the cartoon. I watched it a ton, but I watched like a set of like 3 VHS tapes of it a ton. So I don't know how much of the overall story I ended up getting.
I forgot about the cartoons. Yeah, I watched those a lot too. We had Pokemon the movie, amazing film.
Oh God, I haven't watched that Pokemon movie in a long time.
It's interesting how we're both kind of casual Pokemon people. Like I knew that I wanted to see Detective Pikachu, and I know you did too. Like that was like, oh hell yeah, sounds like such a fun movie.
Yep.
And I talked to my friend who he is obsessed with Pokemon to the point where like he's like played all the games and is so excited for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and he still plays Pokemon Go. And he was like, no way am I going to go see Detective Pikachu.
Interesting.
It's like selling out or something. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell, man? I thought this was your thing. Like, it's like, that's such a totally different way of coming at it. It feels like, for me, the way how I felt about Fantastic Beasts was they seemed kind of like a cash grab and not really in the spirit of Harry Potter, you know? I feel like that's his sentimentality towards Detective Pikachu.
Did I ever tell you that I have only seen the second Fantastic Beasts movie and never having seen the first one, which, oh my gosh, that was a wild ride to try and understand literally anything that happens in that very bad. I mean, it was very bad to watch as someone who's never seen the first one. I get the sense it would still be a bad movie, even if I knew what was going on. But oh boy, was it an interesting time of the movies to be like, you know what? You eventually get to that zen point after like half an hour where you're like, I don't understand anything that's happening and I just don't care. So I'm just going to let it all wash over me. And we'll just like take it as it comes. 2.5 hours of this nonsense. Pretty nonsense.
Yeah, I started Harry Potter on the plane and I got 10 minutes in and was like, I am not wasting the rest of my time with this movie. I'm going to go watch Deadpool 2 again for like the 3rd time.
Those crimes. So many crimes of Grindelwald. But that's not a movie we're here to talk about. Yeah, I think that totally hits the nail on the head around that feeling of, as a casual Pokemon fan, it seemed like a really fun, weird movie to go watch. And I thought, actually, also speaking as a casual Pokemon fan, that was something that it did decently well. There was a few Pokemon that I didn't recognize because I completely checked out after the first 150 or 151 or whatever. But overall, yeah, I grokked it. It all more or less made sense. I don't know if it's something that if you literally knew nothing about Pokemon, this would make sense or not. But for a relatively casual fan who hasn't been plugged in for 15 years, I never felt like I was missing out on anything because I've never played the games, because I haven't kept up with it in a decade plus.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to get into more spoiler-esque review.
Yeah, I do actually have one more thing, which we can at least touch upon now if we don't want to talk about later. How fucking bananas is it that like the new Pokemon movie, like big live action Pokemon movie that they're going for, is Detective Pikachu? That was the other part of why I wanted to watch this movie. It's just like, it's a movie about a talking Pikachu who's a detective. This, like, why wouldn't your first like big Pokemon movie that you go for be the story of Ash and his Pikachu, or any of that? Like, it's talking Pikachu who's a detective in a Sherlock Holmes hat and is voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
I think the reason why they did that was because it's such an untapped, unexposed storyline that they could do whatever they want with it. Yet it still has Pikachu. So, bam.
I don't know. There is something, regardless of whether or not it was a good movie, which it was, as we said already, but like the whole idea of like, all right, the inception of this franchise is a Pikachu as a detective. You're going to pick the weirdest Pikachu thing and run with it. And I don't know. I love that. I just love that in theory.
And in practice.
Yeah. Divorced from the execution of it all. And then it helps that the execution is pretty dang good.
Let's get into the movie.
Cool.
I would say I started off the film kind of rolling my eyes just a little bit at the setup of there is a insurance salesman who used to be a Pokemon trainer, and something happened and now he never wants to be a Pokemon trainer ever again. just that whole concept, that startup just had me rolling my eyes so fucking hard. It's like, okay, this is too much of a child's movie. I'm not going to enjoy myself. This is way too stereotypical and kind of hacky writing, to be frank. But then he got to the city. I guess. Oh yeah, what's your take on that?
I liked that scene a lot. Of hey, we're in a. I thought it was a pretty good way to get you into the world of like Pokemon being a thing that exists. Of he's in a field, he's with his friend. I agree with you. It's kind of a cheesy scene, but the actual like, all right, go catch a Pokemon. Here's how Pokemon mechanics work. Here's what it looks like to have CGI Pokemon out in the world. I thought I agree with you. I think I probably didn't bounce off of it quite as hard, but in terms of like it being a cheesy setup, but the effectiveness of it as an introduction to this world and to this character scene, I thought worked really well for me.
Okay.
Again, just to like, hey, look, there's a Pokemon. And it looks cool that there's a Pokemon in the world.
Yes. I feel like this was the start of kind of a look in two directions at what the movie was, of this child like, oh, this is a kid's movie and we need to cater to kids. And then also this other aspect of like, oh, detective movie that has suspense and thriller moments to it and interesting, I don't know, topics. And there were some like sexual moments in the film that were kind of out of place in that sense, that it made me not think like, okay, that was the start of this kind of like, okay, this is a child's movie, is how I felt watching that scene. And then when they got to the city, it got more interesting from there. But that was the start of that feeling of like, this is a child's movie.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And actually, again, matches pretty well with my thought on it. It's like, it feels like it's a child's movie, but it feels like it's an efficient and impressive child's movie in terms of how it gets across the like Pokemon-ness of it all. That said, to your point about talking about the city, all of that gets infinitely more magnified once we do get into Rhyme City. Because he goes there, I guess, because he has to go to like plot machinations. It's his dad's, like he gets called in because his dad's disappeared, or I don't remember exactly the inciting incident that pushes him out to the city, but it's something around that.
His dad's dead.
And then you get like that big opening shot of, oh my God, there's fucking Pokemon everywhere.
Yeah. That was a really cool moment when like, oh, there's a city where Pokemon and humans are living together and they're cohabitating, which was beautiful. And I'm sure I could poke so many like logical holes into it, but I didn't feel the need to, you know? There was this one scene, the first scene where you were introduced to the female lead whose name...
Yes, name is Lucy. I would not have remembered because, and maybe we'll get to that right after this, but when I said this movie drops some balls, that's one of the ones that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, we meet Lucy, played by Catherine Newton from Big Little Lies, which is coming back tonight as we record this. I'm very excited.
But Lucy's introduction was kind of weird. It was like this, oh, I've been waiting here for someone to open that mailbox for 2 weeks now, and I'm this star reporter who's going to get her scoop to make her famous and awesome and do real good at her job because I'm tired of writing listicles. And it just felt kind of weird. I don't really know how to describe that scene. It just felt out of place.
Yeah, I think that there's a few different things going on. Actually, so now, not only just what you're talking about of like, is it a kid's movie or is it a twisty detective movie? And kind of both. It also like, I feel like the movie is not 100% sure how much of a comedy it's trying to be, and what kind of comedy it's trying to be. And I think that the Lucy character is a good example of, she is really like I think that scene's interesting and effective as a pretty funny, like pure over the top cartoon character scene. She's basically playing it as a cartoon character.
Yes.
And like that could work. The problem is it's like her and a few of the Pokemon are the only people that are like her. Some of the Pokemon, and to a degree, like the villains, are the only ones playing this like it's a cartoon movie. Even like Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu is playing it less like a cartoon, and he's a literal cartoon.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it's a it's a weird tonal inconsistency from character to character and performance to performance.
Yes, absolutely. That's I guess why I mentioned it in the same breath about talking about the kids movie versus the other kind of movie. Is it felt just different. Like this is a different movie that she's in, which she was like Jesse or James from Team Rocket level of melodramatic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Which, side note, I would very much like if there is another Pokemon movie. And this is actually, there's a podcast that I love called Blank Check, and they did an episode on Detective Pikachu with the two writers of it. Their episode came out the weekend that it came out, unlike ours, but whatever. We can't all,
of course,
different podcasts for different people. But one thing that they did talk about is that like they don't think that there's going to be like a Detective Pikachu 2, but it's entirely possible that like there are other Pokemon movies that take place in other aspects of the Pokemon world. They were very clear to be like, yo, this is just the story of these characters and this Pikachu in Rhyme City. Maybe there is an Ash and versus Team Rocket movie down the road.
Yeah.
And if so, I would like that. Please do it. That would be cool. I want to see Meowth.
Yeah, I want a movie that solely focuses on James and Jesse.
Ooh.
Like, that'd be amazing.
The gritty Jesse and James prequel. Their rise to villainy. Their tragic backstory. A movie that like this super reminded me of, and was nowhere near as successful as it because it's one of the greatest movies of all time, but it reminded me a ton of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I think you can see some of the shortcomings of this movie in the ways that it falls flat, or in ways that it doesn't live up to that. And I think one thing that Who Framed Roger Rabbit does really well is manages to totally balance being an incredibly bananas slapstick comedy, literally about 30s cartoons being 30s cartoons, with actually being a pretty twisty noir detective story, and matches the like totally zany and over the top storyline and tone with having a pretty like interesting and deep character driven story. Whereas Detective Pikachu kind of has little bits and pieces of all of those, and it doesn't at all gel together in a cohesive whole the way that like Who Framed Roger Rabbit does.
Yeah. I've not seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but I'll take your word for it.
Oh my fucking God. You have to. Oh my God. Alex Wade, you have to see Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I'm not joking when it's like one of the best movies of all time, and amazingly like for being one of the first times where we mixed like humans and animations and like being done in like 1989, I think it still unbelievably holds up. All of the effects like look incredible today. But yeah, you have to see Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Wow. Okay, it's on the list then.
Yes. Oh my God. Tweet Ian at the AW Club if you want us to do an episode on Who Framed Roger Rabbit and make Alex Wade watch it. If you want us to do we'll do our live Who Framed Roger Rabbit commentary. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's got a lot of good stuff going for it. It doesn't fully tie them all together in like a completely cohesive whole, but in a successful enough whole that like, yeah, I liked it. It was a good movie. It just, could have been better.
I'm talking about like the twists and like the surprising part of the film for me.
Okay.
I thought that there were many times when just like, first off, there's the main twist of the entire film, which is like the dad didn't die. He got absorbed into Pikachu, and like Mewtwo turns out isn't a bad guy. He turns out he's like a benevolent godlike Pokemon apparently. And how the villain is like the president. I thought it was very surprising. The real is like, I did not expect it to happen. And then when it happened, my mind was like slightly blown, and it was like a real fascinating moment.
Interesting. Was that the case for all of the twists or for like one set of twists in particular?
There were several twists that happened. So like the Terraria, for example, that was a huge one for me. And that one, to describe it, was, they're in a secret lab where they have the terrarium garden or whatever, which is some Pokemon
Torterra,
that has,
apparently, according to Wikipedia.
Torterra. Yeah, so that's a Pokemon that it's like a big turtle, like, I don't know, 6-foot long turtle that has like a ecosystem on its shell. And they run out of the Tortuga garden. And they run outside, and then all of a sudden the entire world starts to like shift and the ground starts to shake, and you learn, oh, this is the actual turtle garden where they're huge, monstrous, colossus-sized beasts. And like that one was great for me because I did not expect that to happen.
Yeah. I like that scene a lot too. I kind of soured on it a little bit more after the fact in thinking about like that felt more of this is a cool scene to watch happen than a thing that like fully played in with the rest of the story. Though I guess theoretically that's how Pikachu gets injured, which leads them to Mewtwo. I think the back half of the movie, this is leading me into my overall thought about the back half of the movie, where it has a lot of really cool moments, and I think a lot of the individual twists and changes are executed decently well, but it doesn't tie together as a whole like story, if that makes sense. It's more of like, okay, here's a bunch of cool moments with some cool Pokemon and the characters doing stuff, rather than like a fully tied together, cross all your I's, dot all your T's finale.
Yeah, I'd say that has to do with it still trying to be a kid's movie sometimes. And some of the writing was sacrificed for it to be more palatable and kid friendly and oriented.
Okay. Yeah, I think I could see that. But so the reason why I was asking, like, I agree with you that I didn't see the Torterra thing coming. I think that was actually, again, a really well executed in the moment. That like, as soon as the ground starts to shift, like in the back of my head, I was like, oh shit, wait, hold on. And then it all tied together.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was asking about like which of those twists and stuff did you see coming is, for me, the Mewtwo is actually the good guy twist that I felt like I saw coming pretty early on. His dad is Ryan Reynolds, and the Pikachu has had his dad's soul inside of him the entire time. I never saw coming, but part of that I think is because that's fucking bananas.
Bit ridiculous.
That's truly an insane thing for that is one of those that's like, you know what, I'm glad that reveal happens pretty late in the movie, because I just don't want to think about this. I want the movie to be done so that I don't have to sit with this for much longer.
Yeah, that was okay. Sure, let's do that then. Okay.
But yeah, let's see what other stuff happens in the movie. We've kind of jumped around a little bit, but after meeting Lucy, then they go, they have the scene with Mr. Mime where they interrogate him, which I thought that was a pretty fun scene.
Yeah, that was cool. That was just like a very much, we're going to have a fun bit here. And Pikachu apparently is like super racist towards mimes, you know?
Which, not to exclusively crib from the Blank Check episode, though again, it's very good and it's my favorite podcast. I think it was in reference to this, but maybe it was other some of the other scenes, but the writers did talk about how like they spent a lot of time diving through like the real life encyclopedias of Pokemon that are at the Pokemon Company, to say like, oh, you know, we want to build sequences around cool things that Pokemon can do. And so the Mr. Mime is one of those. It's like, oh, this would be really fun to build a sequence around how do we like interrogate a mime Pokemon. And I thought it was pretty successful, even if a lot of the best jokes of it were in the trailer, which is usually a rough sign.
Yeah, yeah, there are a lot of jokes that were in the trailer that, like, I don't know. There was like, oh, too much of it was just in the trailers.
On the subject of jokes that are in the trailers, and you talking about Deadpool 2 very briefly, and something that I probably won't cut out now since I'm referencing it. First, let's say, what did you think about Ryan Reynolds' overall performance in this film as Pikachu and as Justice Smith's dad?
He was fantastic. Like, I always love Ryan Reynolds. He's, did a great job. Very solid, very comedic. Basically played Deadpool, except like PG. This was PG Deadpool.
Which was then my second question. How much do you think was him just improvising versus like actually shit that was written out for him?
I would say the majority of this was just him improvising.
Yeah, I leading question, but I feel the same.
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree. I thought it was very good, and it was a fun. Yeah, it was a fun performance. Weird that he's his dad, though.
Yeah, I'm sad. Yeah, I'm sad there was no references to Deadpool in this.
I mean,
at all.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I've never seen the Deadpool movies, actually.
What? They're fantastic.
Deadpool is your Who Framed Roger Rabbit in this circumstance?
Not that. No, it's great, but I wouldn't say it's going to stand up for the next 30 years. Like,
see, here's the thing about Deadpool is that he knows he's in a movie. That's me blatantly stealing a bit from Blank Check.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. And though it does genuinely bum me out that like I would love to see more movies of Detective Ryan Reynolds Pikachu. Like that is a fun character, a lot more fun than Ryan Reynolds' dad.
Ryan Reynolds' dad was just kind of boring. I mean, he was there for like 10 seconds, but still.
Also, that'd be if your dad was like that would suck. I wouldn't want my dad to be like Detective Pikachu.
God, no.
I don't like the idea of that Detective Pikachu character being someone with children.
God, no. I mean, it makes sense why his dad and him are like estranged.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. But let's see. After that, they go to the fighting arena, owned by Diplo, I think. And there's a admittedly pretty underwhelming Charizard fight where they don't really fight and Pikachu doesn't really do anything cool, which is a bummer.
Yeah, I don't know why they like didn't let Pikachu know he could do electric things for majority of the movie. That kind of pissed me off. Like,
we apologize for the error. Diplo does not own the thing. Diplo just plays the DJ at the thing.
Oh, there's a thing about like Pikachu. He gets his powers back because he remembers how to use them. But I think it would have been cooler if he had his powers all the time and then he accidentally took the superpower drug and became like fucking badass or something, you know?
Yeah, interesting.
Did something cool with that in like his fight versus Ditto.
Also, I'm so over the like, oh, you lost your powers. You need to like learn who you are and become your true self in order to get your powers back. It's like, okay, boring. Fine, whatever. Especially weird given that like he gets his powers back, but then still has to learn that he's actually secretly Ryan Reynolds. Like it's a hat on a hat.
Yeah.
Not even counting the hat that he wears.
God. Yeah. Unnecessary. Like think it's lowering the stakes to do that. And there are appropriate times where a hero can lose their powers or some shit like that. But in a hour and a half to 2 hour long movie, there's probably not going to be enough time for that.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's the fight. That's not that great of a fight. They find about the R gas, and that leads them on to more of the like the twisty policey stuff, which I thought this part of the movie was done pretty well. They go talk to some people and do some stuff. I don't fully remember what's in contrast to me saying this is a part of the movie that I liked a lot. I don't actually remember a ton of it. But they go through and they do some stuff, and then they end up going out to explore this old abandoned facility. That was the one that, there's a cold open towards the beginning where the dad's like escaping and then gets run off the road by, we think, Mewtwo, but turns out Mewtwo's a good guy. That all happens at the very beginning of the movie. Yeah. We go to, they all go out to this facility, and we get to see a lot of who I'm saying is the MVP of this film, the best part of Detective Pikachu, the character that really like gives this film the gravitas, the weight, the character that I identified with the most, boy. And that is Psyduck. Psyduck fucking rules in this movie. I fucking love Psyduck.
Yes,
as Lucy's Pokemon partner. Who
and just the concept. So, like, I think the concept of Psyduck in this movie was beautiful because, you know, a lot of the Pokemon descriptions in like the Pokedex have ridiculous, just ridiculous descriptions. Like, ooh, this person can pick up 10 tons or something, right? For Psyduck, in his Pokemon description, it literally says he has a headache and could cause an explosion at any time if he gets too upset. And that is what they put into the movie.
It's so good. Like, it's it's a character with a game. Like, it turns into a game of Pikachu interacting with the Psyduck and trying to keep the Psyduck's head from exploding. And the whole, like, okay, I'm not going to massage your feet scene, which is great.
Yeah.
And then, like, it pays off when we actually have Psyduck explode and it gets rid of the Greninjas, I guess.
Yeah.
Psyduck is so cool.
Yeah, it was a great concept. I'm glad they did that.
And I do think like that, you know, again, we said at the beginning that we like the movie, and so far a lot of the stuff we've been talking about is more the complaints that we have with it. But I think this is one indicative of, for me, something this movie does really well, which is really plays with the Pokemon sandbox and doesn't say, hey, I'm going to, other than like Pikachu being the main character, it's not saying, hey, what are all the Pokemon that everyone recognizes and are the big ones you put on a poster and the kind of shittier things that you see in some other like half-baked attempt of kicking off a franchise. What they say is, no, people fucking love Pokemon. They're going to come see Pokemon no matter what. So what we do is we pick the right Pokemon that will give us something fun to do and can plug them into stories in interesting ways.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Mime and Psyduck and the Torterras or whatever are not the cool Pokemon that everyone gravitates to. You know, there's a Charizard at one point, but briefly. There's no like Squirtles that you see, none of the like big top line Pokemon. Instead, it's that Mr. Mime lets you do a really fun, cool, goofy interrogation scene with a clear built-in bit. Psyduck like underlies this whole chunk of the second act and has a really cool payoff in that fight scene later. And has a lot of millennials reacting to the fact that, oh, Psyduck is someone who is perpetually stressed. And that sounds like every millennial ever. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's something that the whole movie was very enjoyable and very fun. And there were lots of tidbits and different moments that happened around. So I don't want people to think like I'm just shitting on the movie all around in general, because it was a very comedic, fun movie.
Totally agree. And again, I would love if more like franchise owners had the confidence of the Pokemon Company did in like, holy shit, we're going to start off a franchise, presumably because this was a success and was a very expensive movie, start off a franchise with a Detective Pikachu movie about a game that like no one's played, about like a weird thing that's an inversion of what everyone understands the Pokemon story and franchise to be, and we're gonna like chalk it all full of, you know, not Ash but this other new character. We're gonna put in all the Pokemon that aren't like the top line Pokemon and pick them because they work with the story and or work with the games that we want to play with them, and like, you know,
it took risks.
Yeah.
I felt went into this movie kind of expecting it to be like Star Wars episode not seven in the sense of like super overproduced and tested and trying to be perfectly manicured, and it was not, and I'm glad for that.
Yep.
You know,
I think we've had not arguments per se, but like, yeah, we feel slightly differently about this for these new Star Wars movies, but I get your point. I get your point, even if I don't necessarily agree with the specific example.
Okay.
So Pikachu gets injured and they go follow the Bulbasaurs, which looks really cool. And then they go see Mewtwo, and Mewtwo heals Pikachu and gets captured. And anything that you want to say about this scene or the Mewtwo's or Mewtwo in general?
It was a very fun action scene. They're like flying around the city on like Pikachu floats, and one time he got caught on the back of like a Pidgey or something. Very good action scene. Also, the Ditto being the like main bad guy's Pokemon was kind of really creepy because the beady eyes were, ooh.
Yeah,
that was Uncanny Valley.
Eyes was terrifying, and I loved it.
Yeah, that like honestly, if I was 7, I might have nightmares about that.
Yep, I feel that. Yeah, I'm torn about the final action sequence. That like, it had some cool bits.
Didn't
but
make a lot of sense, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I think it could have been more fun, especially the like. Okay, well, one, completely ignoring the fact that like, okay, the big bad guy final plan makes no fucking sense.
No, not at
which
all.
is a dumb thing to throw out. Like that happens. Like people throw out in movies all the time, and it kind of, Thanos' plan doesn't make any sense. And it's like it doesn't matter if the plan doesn't make sense if it leads to an interesting story, and blah blah blah.
Hey, Thanos did nothing wrong.
True. But the like in particular you want to be able to live inside of Mewtwo. Fine. That's crazy, but that's fine. Literally, where does any of this come from? Like, make everyone else have to live inside their Pokemon also.
Yeah, that one's weird.
So here to tie up a bit of a loop that I was talking about many times earlier, the other thing that this movie does wrong is just the way that it treats Lucy as the side character. Just gives her nothing to do outside of that first scene, those first couple scenes where it's like, oh yeah, she's around and she's like being the investigator reporter that's helping them around, being someone for Psyduck to exist with so that Psyduck can do a bunch of cool stuff. But especially here at the end, one, like, you have a reporter character, and the reporter character whose whole thing is like, I'm going to go out and like break the scoop and like tell everyone, use the fact that I'm a reporter to tell everyone that like, oh my God, this like evil plan is about to happen. Literally right as she's about to do it, the guy goes out and says, like, Bill Nye comes out and says like, hey, here's my evil plan to everyone during the thing. So you get rid of the one thing that you were setting up as her big moment and the thing that she could do. Which sucks for the character and like makes me question, why does she exist in the movie as a, like, I guess third lead is what she's supposed to be. Yeah. But okay. She then just like gets shoved into her Psyduck for the whole final battle. And like,
yeah,
it was frustrating both on the level of purely from just like storytelling thing of like, okay, you're trying to build this character up as someone that we should care about, and then just completely sidelining them during the finale, whereas it could be totally reasonable to like have her go do a thing just like in the sidelines. She doesn't have to be part of like the major big fight, but like have there be a reason for her to exist in this finale. It would be bad just on a storytelling level, let alone the fact that like, okay, cool, it's like the woman character they're just gonna like shove off to the side, which like sucks for cultural reasons. So I was deeply frustrated by how much of a non-character Lucy was, and she could have been an interesting character if she had gotten more stuff to do. End rant.
Yeah, she's definitely set up like she's not quite the Trinity badass female character stereotype, but she's almost that.
Yeah. But then she's the badass female character character archetype that doesn't even get the chance to be badass.
Yeah, so it's like, she gets shortchanged in two ways. Yeah. It's like, if you're going to be sexist about it, then be sexist about it,
Yeah. Oh, you know who we haven't actually talked about much? Justice Smith as Tim. What did you think about his performance and him in the movie?
Very solid. He definitely played a straight man character. Straight guy. I'm not talking about sexuality. I'm talking about the type, like
as the comedic persona.
Exactly. There were some times when he was like, "Ooh, I'm like being awkward trying to hit on this girl."
Yeah, at least if she's just going to be the romantic side character, then let like that be a part of the story that actually happens that gives you stuff to do. I'm still super mad about this.
Yeah.
Continue. Justice Smith as Tim.
Yeah, like he didn't fuck it up. He didn't fuck it up, and that's all that he could do, if that makes sense,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I thought like to maybe be even more effusive about it, like I thought that like the fact that he didn't fuck it up, and the movie overall is wacky in terms of its tones and how it like fails to stitch them together. But in so much as it does stitch them together, I think it does via his performance as being like, the confidence in terms of him as an actor and in playing around in this world, that like, I think if you had someone who wasn't able to like be that sort of mellow straight man tying it all together, the movie would fly even more off the rails than it does.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what the movie needed, and he did an admirable job at that, and that is a very valuable performance to have in movies. That being said, like Tobey Maguire is, he's that same kind of person, and I hope he never gets a Oscar for his performance.
Okay, sure. Yes, I don't want to this is not the movie that I would give Jeff Smith an Oscar for. Maybe let's I don't know how old he is, like 20 something. So let's see what he's like in 20 years. But yeah, I feel that. Yeah, this is like you did the work,
but like
held it together.
This kind
Solid.
of role, he should never get an Oscar for it.
The day they start giving out Oscars to Detective Pikachu is a day I'm very excited to have come.
Hey, yeah, it's gonna come. Best picture.
I wonder if it will. As a side note, I wonder if it will get nominated for any of the technical awards. I could see it, like VFX.
Possibly. I mean, I don't really know what else would.
Avengers probably will for like VFX, and yeah. I don't know what else is coming out this year. We'll see.
I guess got any wrap 'em up thoughts on the movie?
Yeah. So let's see. So the final battle happens, and Mewtwo saves the day after they're able to get him out from the harnessy thing. Bill Nighy's a bad guy. Chris Gera's a good guy, but was a ditto for part of it. And then it turns out that Pikachu is dad.
Yeah, that one's weird.
Pikachu is daddy. Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if there's going to be a sequel. Can't really have a sequel to this, can you?
You really can't. They kind of just close the door on how, because there's no Detective Pikachu anymore. There's a Pikachu and there's a detective.
This goes back. It's like, Mewtwo, we need to solve crimes again. Form us back together.
But maybe what I hope is that this leads them to doing more Pokemon movies outside of this specific story.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Anything else that you want to talk about? The Pokemon looked fucking great.
Yeah, very well done. Believable, Wasn't creeped out except when I was supposed to be creeped out.
Yep. Yeah. God, that Sonic movie though. Oh my God. There was a trailer for the Sonic movie playing before we went to go watch Detective Pikachu, and ooh boy.
Yeah.
Ooh boy.
Yeah.
There is part of me though, on the subject of the Sonic movie, that wouldn't hate the idea of it's less a Sonic movie and more an attempt to do a 90s Jim Carrey movie that features Sonic. But I don't get the sense that's what they were trying to do.
Why don't we just take Sonic out of the movie? Problem solved.
I mean, hey, if you're telling me that we could just do a Jim Carrey Eggman movie, hell yeah. Let's go. I'll greenlight it yesterday.
I honestly think they should not have said, oh, we're going to change it.
Yeah, whatever. Just let it be a bad movie. Just let it suck and make a bunch of money.
Gone. Yeah, that's fine.
It would still, make back its budget, and it would be bad, and then everyone would get drunk and watch it on Netflix in 5 years. A bunch of college kids. It'll be great.
Hell yeah. It can be one of the bad movies that people watch because it's bad.
Yep.
Fine.
Oh well. Any other thoughts on Pokemon Detective Pikachu or the Sonic movie?
Nah. I'm good, man.
Yeah, overall, I think it worked. And I'm glad that it exists. All my points about it being, I wish more franchises went the Detective Pikachu route. All stands, and Psyduck rules.
Psyduck rules and tagline.
Yep, there you go. If you think Psyduck rules, then you should be a friend of ours, and you can be a friend of ours by getting in touch with, first way to be a friend of ours is to just keep listening to our stuff. You can find our stuff on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on Google Podcasts. You can find it on Spotify. It's under the ADub Club. It's really hard to search for it because we didn't think about SEO when we set up the name for any of this stuff. So apologies, but whatever. You're already listening to it, so you already have found it. But you can find it in all those places. You can also find us at our website, theadub.club. There you can also find our topics guide, which is a little page that has all the different stuff that we've talked about. You click on one of those topics, you'll see all the episodes where we discuss that thing. You can find us on Twitter at theAW Club. That's THEAW.C. No, whoops, sorry, that's THEAWCLUB. You can email us at theawclub at gmail.com, THEAWCLUB. And please do email us or tweet at us because, I don't know, that'd be fun, right? We can make fun of you on the air. And I believe that is it.
Yeah. AW Club out.
AW Club out.
That beginning scene for me kind of was the start of.
Oh, I guess that's another big picture thing that you could talk about. And again, becomes even greater when you get into the.
You cut off.
Oh my God, the delay's gotten so bad.
Oh God, fuck. God damn it. Wait, requesting microphone access?
Oh dear.
Wait, in Zencastr, it's not recording.
That's like 10 seconds.
Wait, have you checked Zencastr?
It's said it's been recording on mine.
It says, please click to allow your microphone to be prompted.
Oh, interesting. I do have a backup going that's recording both yours and my side anyway. Man. So, like, is this a no-go?
Yeah. I maybe.
Wait, hold on.
What do you think?
I'm going to say a sentence, and at the end of the sentence, you say a word, and we're going to end the sentence right now.
Now, this time, I was like half a second late, but I got there almost in time.
It was a lot better. It's gotten a lot better now, weirdly. Still pretty bad, though. Still like now it's like a second or two as opposed to like 10 seconds. But
no.
Well, let's just keep going with it. Yeah, so I had a backup running for that whole thing, so we're fine.
Okay.
And now,
what were you saying?
You were saying something. You were disagreeing. Like, I think let's go for what you were saying because mine can come back later.
Yes.
You were. Yeah, the opening scene.